Hi, this is Ridea Keeping It Real, and we are reading through the Bible using the Good News Bible. And we're on the Apocrypha. We've just finished the book of Judith. And next up is the Greek version of the book of Esther. And after coming off of Judith, I really want to skip Esther and just go to the wisdom of Solomon, just because I want to. It's almost like Judith was powerful. It was so powerful. Can I add another powerful woman story into my mind at this time? And the Most High said, yes, you can and you will, because you need to be this type of woman. So regardless of how overwhelmed you feel with these stories, because they're so powerful and emotional, keep going. So where we're going to go, we're going to at least read one chapter of Esther. But before I do that, I'm going to incorporate as much as I can. Just one second. I'm going to incorporate the questions that I asked Chat GTP about these books. And the reason why is because I think some people are afraid to use Chat GPT, but don't be. Don't be. It's a tool. It's just like a hammer, a screwdriver. It's a tool that you need to use that's available now for you. Just know how to use it. And again, when you're talking about anything that's in the Bible, anything about the Most High, ask for it to give you what? The non-European view. Otherwise, you're going to get the European view. It's going to be watered down. It's going to be the standard answer. So I always just go from that point of non-European. Nope. Don't give me basically the live version, the sanitized version. I don't want that. So here I asked, I've already read the Old Testament Esther. It was a great story. So I said, well, okay, why do we have this second version? Here are the key differences. Is that the Hebrew version in the Old Testament, it never mentioned God's name. It reads like the Persian court story with political intrigue. And it ends with the Jewish survival through Esther's courage, but without overt spirituality. This Greek version that we're getting ready to read adds 107 extra verses, and it's scattered throughout the book. And I'm going to show you how it's scattered throughout the Bible that we're reading. It includes the prayers of Esther and Mordecai, and it shows clearly the divine deliverance was not just politics, it was divine. It adds prophetic visions and emphasizes covenant faithfulness. And it portrays Esther less as a passive beauty queen. Let me get this a little bit closer for you. And more as a prayerful, courageous servant of her people and of her God. In short, the Hebrew text is more secularized, and the Greek text restores the spiritual heart. So why the difference? So from the non-Eurocentric viewpoint, the reason is because the version that's in the Old Testament erases the Most High. It controls the identity of the people, and it also suppresses prayer. So prayer is so important. And again, if you don't know how to pray or you really haven't prayed, a lot of the things that are in the book, the Bible, will help you to pray. You can use those prayers. The bigger picture is the empire versus the remnant. The Greek version highlights that even in the diaspora, Israelites could resist the empire, not just with politics, but with prayer and covenant. So that's very important. We have the covenant. We're reading it. That's the book. And prayer is very important to add to that. The hiddenness versus revelation. So the Hebrew version hides the Most High. The Greek version reveals the Most High in exile. For an awakened lens today, this signals how Scripture itself was edited to dim Israel's true relationship with the Most High. So our application today, and then that's what's important to know how to apply these things. It's just like Judith that we just read. Esther is in the Apocrypha. It's a manual for living under oppressive systems. Survival isn't about blending in, which is integration. It's about remembering covenant identity and crying out for deliverance. So the bottom line, non-Eurocentric. The Greek Esther restores what empire tried to erase. Israel's survival is not just clever politics. It's covenant, fasting, it's prayer, and the Most High's intervention. So the Eurocentric canon kept the quieter, safer version that made Esther's story sound like an empire-proof fairy tale, but the Apocrypha gives back the truth. Deliverance came because Israel stayed connected to the Most High, even in exile. So that's the reason that there are two versions of this. And as I was looking at stuff a little bit now, so I was looking at the way this book is laid out with Esther, and got a fan on right now. Is you know how most of these books start with chapter 1, but it has chapters A through F. These are the things A, B, C. You see throughout here, A, and here's B, then C. These are the things that was left out of the book of Esther that's in your Old Testament Bible, and it usually is things, prayers, and the spiritual piece of it. So let's just read at least A, and then I'm going to call it a day. So here we go. The Book of Esther, the Greek version. Let's focus. 1 second. Focused. So the Book of Esther, the Greek version. The Book of Esther in Greek is a translation, adaptation, and expansion of where the Book of Esther in Hebrew, the chain of events is much the same, but there are many variations in text, including different proper names and a strong religious tone. The 6 sections shown as A through F in this translation provide a different introduction and conclusion, introduce documents in an official style, and emphasize the religious elements by the addition of the prayers and accounts of how they were answered. Very important. And so, here we go. The outline, the first part we're going to read is Esther becomes queen. Mordecai's strange dream, which I guess was not in the Old Testament version. Maybe portions of it were, but they're putting it all here. So Mordecai, a Jew who belonged to the tribe of Benjamin, was taken into exile, along with King Jehoiakim of Judah, when King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia captured Jerusalem. Mordecai was the son of Jairah, a descendant of Kish and Shimei. He now lived in the Persian city of Susa, where he was an important official in the royal court of Xerxes, the great king. During the second year of Xerxes' reign, the first day of the month of Nisan, Mordecai had a dream. He dreamed that there was a great noise and confusion, loud thunder, and an earthquake with terrible turmoil on the earth. Then 2 huge dragons appeared, ready to fight each other. They made a dreadful noise, and all the nations got ready to make war against God's nation of righteous people. For the world, it was a day of darkness and gloom, trouble and distress, destruction, ruin. All of God's righteous people were troubled, in great fear of what was about to happen to them. They prepared for death, but they cried out to the Most High for help. In the dream, their prayer was answered by a great river which was flowing out of a small spring. The day dawned, sun rose, and the humble people were made strong and destroyed their arrogant enemies. Mordecai woke up from his dream, in which he saw what God planned to do. He thought about it all day and tried to understand what it meant. Mordecai saves the king's life. While Mordecai was resting in the courtyard of the palace, where two of the king's eunuchs, Gabbatha and Tara, were on guard, he overheard them plotting together. He listened carefully to what they were saying and learned that they were making plans to kill the king. So Mordecai went to King Xerxes and told him about the plot of the two eunuchs. The king had them questioned, and when they confessed, they were led away and executed. The king had an account of this written in the official records, and Mordecai also wrote an account of it. Then the king appointed Mordecai to a position at court and gave him many gifts as a reward for what he had done. But Haman, son of Hammedatha, a Bergian, who was respected by the king, tried to cause trouble for Mordecai and his people, the Jews, because Mordecai had been responsible for the death of the two eunuchs. And then chapter 1 is Queen Vashti defies King Xerxes. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to stop there. We're going to stop there. Let me see something. Let me see Esther here. Hold on. Yeah. So this just starts with the version that's in the Old Testament. From the royal throne of the Persian city of Susa, King Xerxes ruled 127 provinces. These things happened in the time of King Xerxes, who ruled 127. So all of this dream that Mordecai had wasn't in. It's not in the version that we read, or that I read, the Old Testament. Oh, it's like, just crazy to me. Just crazy, crazy, crazy. Here we are, and all this stuff was hidden, so we wouldn't know. What? To fast and pray? If we fasted and prayed, the Most High would help us? Basically, is what I'm getting from this. That's the power. The power is the power of prayer. That's the power. The power of fasting. The power of keeping the covenant. Who is that? Oh, this is Mordecai. Just kind of eavesdropping. What? This is going to be interesting. I don't want to overdo it today, even though I do have more time in Sabbath to read more, and I may. Get Mordecai here hiding like that. That's kind of funny looking. It's funny looking. And I'm going to put these guys in some gray. Even though they probably would have some color on it, but I'll put some color on it. They're sneaky. They're going to try to kill the king. Yeah, I'm going to leave them kind of in. Probably gray and yellow. This kind of helps me because I used to do a lot of art, pyrography. I've stopped here recently. Haven't done it in a couple years, actually. But I love just the feeling of coloring and creating, and sometimes you just got to find something that you lose all track of time doing, and it takes your mind away. Like right now, it's not taking my mind away because I'm talking at the same time. But when I turn this camera off and I just finish coloring the picture, it does take my mind away. It's almost like a meditative state you can get in. So you want to find something that can get you in that meditative state. And I'm going to get there. I'm going to finish coloring this, but just know we're on the Book of Esther, and we're on the Greek version of it, where it's adding in the prayers and the spiritual piece, and that what we can learn from that is that keeping the covenant, prayer, fasting, the Most High will do His part, but we need to do our part. So until next time, it's Ridea keeping it real.